ahead. We'll let everybody in. Welcome, everyone. You are here joining us for the Global Grad Presents special session of Just Graduated, Now What? Working while on OPT during COVID-19, right? I feel like that is a perfect wrap that someone should come up with, maybe someone from our recording arts degree program. We're gonna just take a few moments to let everybody come in and get comfortable. You're welcome to turn your camera on so we can see your faces. We do ask that you stay on mute during the session. And if you have a question, there is a raise your hand feature, or you can type it in the chat and we'll go ahead and weave it into our conversation. Yes, Lilia, you're right. This is an amazing group of alumni we have here, as well as you joining us. Thank you, Sunny, for joining us. I can see Stephanie and Andrea. Andrea is about to graduate. All right. We're going to go ahead and introduce our wonderful group of graduates here. We have some amazing 2019 and 2020 Full Sail International alumni joining us. So welcome to our Global Grad Series, starring Full Sail International grads from all around the world as they reconnect and give back to you. And we're going to go ahead and start off with Amelia.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm originally from Colombia. I graduated from the music business program in December 2019. And since then, I moved to New York in February, and I'm currently doing 2 separate internships. One is with a band called Saving Vice, working as their social media manager. And the other one I started about 2 weeks ago, which is with a Brooklyn-based indie record label called Media Group, more for a release that they're currently working on, that they prepared during the complete isolation period called Isolation Compilation with all of their artists.
Wow, that is awesome. I can't wait to get more into that. I have a lot of questions and I'm sure the crowd does too. So please feel free to use the chat feature. But that is so interesting. I really want to know more. I can't wait. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and segue over to Guy. Go ahead.
Hello guys, hello everyone. My name is Guy, well Guillermo, as you can see on the screen, but short for Guy. I graduated from the Entertainment Business Master's program this June. And what you see in the background is actually the logo for my podcast, which is kind of like my full-time job right now. And then on the side, I'm just starting this podcast consulting thing with some friends of mine. That's been an ongoing project that I hope to concrete in the next upcoming weeks.
Awesome. And if you are not listening to La Campaña podcast, you need to be. I love following you guys on Instagram, and I know you guys aren't arguing, but it's still fun. I love it. And I shared a fun meme with Lilia on The Shining, and I can't wait to see what you guys share about The Shining. Thank you so much for joining us, Key. I'm gonna go ahead. Awesome. Our other graduate, Lorgie, is just joining us, but we're gonna go ahead and bump over to Nicholas. Let's see here. We'll spotlight you there, Nicholas. How's it going?
Good. So my name is Nicholas. I graduated from the game design bachelor's degree in 2019. And I'm currently working with a company called IGG as a Unity level designer. And our office is basically doing the kind of marketing advertisement side of the game that we made, well, that the other team made. So just kind of working with game design, you know, how do you say that? With game design, applying game design to more marketing and advertisement kind of perspective.
Okay. So more for the user to get started and learning about businesses and concepts. It's very cool. I love that. All right. And now we have Lorgie joining us. How are you today? Let's unmute you. Let's see. Oh no. I am gonna go ahead and click unmute and let's see if that works. There we go.
I say hi, everyone.
Yes, hello, welcome.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late. I got late. I was on a call. I'm at my job, so sorry.
I see that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking some of your time out to join us today. We got some hellos. Hello, Fernando. Eden is here. Hi, Eden. And then Mary Elise, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Laura G, tell us about your name, which we know part of it, right? Where you're from, what your degree program is, and what you're doing for work.
Okay. I'm Lorgi. Hi. I'm from Venezuela. I graduated from media communications a year ago or so, a little more than a year. And now I'm working as a digital marketing manager. I started actually 3 weeks ago on this job. So yeah, that's about it.
Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
you're in Miami right now, or are you going to stay in Miami? Or are you going to go back to New York? What's the plan for that?
So far, for now, I'm in Boca Raton since, I think like there is a lot of uncertainty related to what's going to happen, including elections, economy, the world, the pandemic. So for now, I think I'm staying here. Let's see how this develops, and then we will see.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Wait till we have more information. Thank you for joining us, especially during work. I know Nicolas is joining us as well while at work, and he does have a meeting at 12:30. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about his journey for OPT because he has a special journey with his STEM OPT. And I know a lot of people have questions about that process. And today is really open. So if there's a topic or questions you have about applying, what it's like waiting, what is it like looking for work right now, it's really about right now, and it helps you be prepared for the future. So Nicholas, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about your journey since you've graduated, and during our call or just before this, you mentioned something about applying for your extension. Can you tell us more?
So, for my degree, my degree qualifies for the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field, which basically is kind of like everything on the computer and tech related side. Basically, the OPT, the first one you have is the post-completion OPT, which is what I think everyone is doing right now. And for STEM students, there is an optional, you can apply to a 24-month extension if you're within that category. I'm almost at the end of my post-completion OPT, so I'm currently in the process of applying for the extension.
Does that feel kind of like the original steps for you when applying for the first 12 months of OPT? Or do you feel like you're back in the same cycle, or does it feel like you've been there, done that? What does it feel like?
So this time is a little bit different. So the thing is that for this extension, you need, I believe it's a paid job. I believe, I'm not sure if we can do it with internships or just unpaid, but basically this one is a little bit different because to even be able to qualify for the extension, the place you're working at needs to be enrolled within a government program called E-Verify.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know until a couple of months ago, and I did not know if my company had it or not. So I was, it's always the panic of finding out, oh, there's a different requirement, and oh, I don't know if it's gonna be met. Um, fortunately, the company I'm working with does have the E-Verify and is enrolled within that program. But for the extension, you need to be really careful and make sure that uh, that's like that the company you're working for, or group, or wherever you're working at, has that enrollment. Otherwise, you won't be able to apply for the extension.
Great feedback. So that just to clarify, OPT, great question, Eden, is optional practical training, which is employment authorization for international students to be able to work here in the States. And so what has it been like for you all? Who would like, I know, thank you, Nicholas, for sharing. Who else would like to share what it's been like working on OPT? Go ahead, Guy.
I guess I'll start.
You're gonna go first.
Well, so pretty much I just continue to do what I was doing, because this so the podcast is something that I created for my master's. It was an idea, but then it became a reality, because I was like, well, I don't necessarily need to create one, but if I'm doing the whole planning and the whole thing, I might as well just create one. So my idea was to at least record and publish 6 episodes when I decided to create this in February. But then it's been, now if I combine both the Spanish version and the English version, is I think it's over 60 episodes. And I've been pretty lucky to also get participation of fellow professors of mine to join as a special guests. I got another friend of mine that runs a business in Mexico. We're literally on the verge of scheduling another alumni from Full Sail that I'm not gonna reveal the name yet, but it's that's gonna be an interesting one. So it's pretty much been an extension of mine. So the consulting thing came about as I was discussing with my parents, and then I was like, and then a friend of mine just called me out of the blue, say, I want to launch one, so can you help me? And he was like, I'm gonna pay you for that. So I was like, okay, I was gonna give you some advice independently, but if you're gonna pay me, might as well just just get on board. So I'm just starting to develop a website for myself with some help of some friends, and then and putting the whole guidelines of what can I do if I'm just gonna help set up the launch, and or if I'm gonna continue as a showrunner or as a host. So creating different versions for me in order to contribute if they want to go through the path of launching a podcast, either for a personal podcast, or if or maybe just for a company, which is the case of my friend. But also I've been applying to other jobs in the industry. It's a constant process.
Mm-hmm. I remember you making your ideas and seeing you on campus tucked away in the corner, planning your podcast for sure.
Yeah, that was one thing, planning. Now I can't do that much, because I mean the whole idea was putting up a calendar with the amount of events that was going to happen this year, but now everything's up in the air. So there's been a bit of a struggle to decide which topics we're going to talk about on the podcast each and every week, because it's spending time on social media to see what's happening, because there's nothing really planned and scheduled. Everything has changed.
It's true. We've had to be versatile. I know Laura G and Amelia, you work closely in social media and helping companies brand. How have you seen a difference in the industry itself based on just your work experience since graduating?
Well, I can talk from the perspective of a band. They pretty much have to rebrand how they do their content, just because there's no live shows. They're trying to put out more music to pretty much go against the fact that there are no live shows and still make people interested. My band specifically, they launched their first full-length album earlier this year. They weren't planning on releasing any more music, but just because of how things have changed with COVID, we've had two covers that they've released in the past 5 months. They also had another single. They created a music video for one of their tracks from their first album, just to as well have more content to post on social media. And then now they're releasing an EP in a couple of weeks, which they were actually planning to release next year, but it just made sense to release it this year, which is very unusual for a band to release a full-length album and an EP in the same year. But things with COVID have really slowed down, and it's just the way to keep people interested.
I've been hearing a lot about a lot of artists releasing a lot of music right now, because I think we all thought next month, it'll be next month, and now we're realizing it's TBD, right?
Exactly.
Lorgie, what about you with social media?
It is, I would say, the way my work is with a lot of companies, so it depends on their target and what they do. But it definitely has changed a lot, especially with COVID, because most of the business that used to have a store, maybe now they closed and they went online. So it's a whole other process and it's a whole other strategy. And then maybe the budget they had before, now they don't have it anymore. So it's very, very hard, because you keep saying, you keep hearing stories like, oh my God, no, I'm in bankruptcy, so I don't know what to do. So it's tough. I would say everybody had to adapt to a new platform, Zoom. Now everybody has to be on Zoom, or see how can you change everything what used to be physical now has to be digital, and transitioning every company. There are a lot of companies that their owners have been over here for years, so they don't even have a Facebook. So it's a whole process, because you gotta explain like, oh my God, this is social media, this is how it works, walk them through. It's been challenging, definitely, but not impossible. And I feel like, well, with time, we're just gonna get used to this, and it's just one step at a time, I guess. That's what it is.
That's a good way to look at it. Guy, have you seen, or Nicholas, different changes in your industry since you first started and then now transitioning over with COVID, like in gaming, or how people are playing, or your podcast popularity? How has COVID changed it? I know, Guy, you just recently graduated during this ordeal, so maybe you don't have numbers prior to compare.
I have behavior, but I believe Nicholas can definitely give a better explanation, because I mean the gaming industry has been booming since this started. The Twitch numbers has been like skyrocketing since March.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when it comes to the development and publishing of games themselves, it's not that different, honestly. Since games always can be, since most games are always released digitally and physically. What mostly changed was in the process of development, and even then it didn't change too much, because the thing about video games is that everything is just data in the computer. So all you have to do is set up, server, set up a local server, and everyone that's working on the project just grabs a copy of the project from the server and then uploads it to the server and whatnot. It's a couple of extra steps, and it is, of course, like the biggest difficulty here is communication, because with games like these and projects like these, especially with the big name games from AAA studios, you have hundreds, if not thousands, of people working on something, and if there's no communication, everything can just break down. So it's the greatest challenge has just been like keeping that same communication pipeline while being as effective as possible, because of course it's always easier to just reach over and talk to your coworker and ask for help. It's easier to do that than just messaging them, hey, are you available right now? I got the questions. Like, okay, I'll show you the issue, the Zoom. So it's the communication that's the biggest thing, but otherwise it hasn't really changed much in terms of like being able to release something or not. in any case, like delays could be a thing and have been a thing, but that's to be expected.
Of course, I completely understand what you're talking about, being able to lean over and ask, hey, I just got this quick question, and then move about your day, right? Because then having to say, are you available? Wait for them to respond. Maybe they don't have the window open. Has this created any conflict, Lorgie or Amelia, or even Yuki, in your office at all? Or what are ways that you're overcoming it?
In my perspective, my band already is very separate. Like some of them live in Vermont, some of them live in Massachusetts. So they have always worked, we have like one band call a week where they always did it through Google Hangouts. So it's not something very new to them to just do it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
But on my other internship, the one with the label, it's been very interesting because we're a group of 4 interns, and the owner of the label didn't want to just recruit people from like the Brooklyn area or the New York City area. There's a girl who is in Boston, there's a girl who's in Spain, there's people from all over, just because there's no barriers as to, like, there is a difference in schedules, but everyone can make it fit to their schedule to work on the project.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's also very flexible just to work on social media or the publishing aspect, there's no set times for that. So it's been pretty interesting to see how globalized it has become.
Yeah, definitely with what Amelia said. I do also do social media for another company. And yeah, it was always online. So we just have like meetings every 15 days and we communicate through Slack. But with this company, they used to be, I wasn't here, but they used to be all physical. So you can see half of the office is empty. And every time you come in, they take your temperature, like you gotta be separated, it's all spread. It's very weird. I'm here right now by myself and I don't have to wear the mask. But if we are in a meeting and it's 5 people, then you gotta look at each other with the mask and keep talking. It's like, I don't know, they keep taking the measures and everything. But yeah, they are definitely working. Half of the team is still home. So yeah.
I understand. We have some really great questions coming in. Ian, like to know, did these companies recruit you after graduation? Did you go through how did you go through the process of applying or learning about these available positions?
I guess only them can answer that.
Yeah, because you're self-employed. You're like, I got my own schedule. Thank you.
Yeah.
I found mine, the band I found through Career Sync, actually, because they played Warped Tour on the Full Sail stage. So that's how they got the connection with Full Sail. And I applied directly through Career Sync, but later they reached out and I went through the whole interviewing process. For the other one, I actually applied through LinkedIn. I was just looking for jobs and it popped up this internship. The owner reached out and said that it was a non-paid internship, that the only thing that he could offer was his connections and like knowledge in general. So he was going to share texts and articles and things that he thought were interesting and that could definitely help us grow our knowledge in the industry, which I thought was still very interesting. And so I just went through the whole application process with them as well, which was the same questions, interview, and then just ended up working with them.
For me, kind of the same. The social media one, it was through Career Sync as well. So yeah, it is a very useful platform, and they always help you with the resume and all the projects that you do on Full Sail do count, because that was something I had a portfolio to show to whomever was going to hire me. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. And for this one, it was, yeah, I just applied through Indeed, and it was a process of, I think it was 3 interviews. It was all online, and then whenever they send you like an offer, and then it's when you come into the office and then you get introduced.
Awesome. Nicholas, how did you find IGG?
So so you guys know how in Full Sail the first thing they tell you is networking. Basically, I got this job because one of my friends that had graduated before me got in the same company, into IGG. he was like, "Hey, yeah, we got a spot for a designer." And I was like, "Hey, I want, please." And he basically gave me the referral, and then it just kind of went on from there. Uh, that's about it.
I know. I know you have a meeting here in less than 30 seconds. So I just wanted to still say thank you so much for joining us. I know that you'll have to step out. Real quick, if you could take a time machine, what was one little thing that you'd do different as a Full Sail student?
Network more.
All right. Network more. Well,
That's about it. Yeah.
I know you have to head out. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and if you guys can all check out his LinkedIn, go back to Full Sail One, and I have shared all of the alumni's LinkedIn page too, so we can go ahead and reshare that. But thank you so much for joining us, and you have a great day, Nicholas.
Thank you so much. You guys too.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Eden has some really great questions too. I'm wondering, Eden, it sounds, I'd love to know more about you for sure. Her questions really seem to be heavily on the experience of looking for work and interning, and upon graduation, do you have to begin as an intern if you already have field experience? What do you love most about working in these companies? So a lot of you are sharing Career Sync. Could you tell me how you learned about Career Sync, or when did you start utilizing those services?
I started knowing about Career Sync. I think it was in the last few months of in the music business program that you start doing, they do a mock interview. You start working a lot more with career development. And they set up your Career Sync. I set it up a bit before that just because I found the platform. Just looking through Full Sail One, I think I ran into it. But every now and then I just check back in to see what's there. As far as interning, I began interning just because finding a job that will pay you in New York City, even though I had some previous experience, has been really hard, especially with COVID, because there were a ton of jobs that were cut. So that's pretty much the only reason I started looking into internships. I started out first looking for an actual paying job, but it's really difficult in COVID times to find a job that will pay you and that is still taking on people. So that's more just my experience with that.
I think, yeah, yeah, I relate to what you just said. I don't think, of course, there's no you have to start interning. It depends on your journey and the experience you have. But I did the same. I started interning for a podcast and I did their social media. A, because I wanted more experience. B, because while I was trying to find another job that will pay me, I didn't want to fall behind on everything that was going on. So I wanted to keep on track doing something. So yeah, I would say with Career Sync, I did start it the last months as well. I would recommend start earlier, definitely. They have, I know they used to have open houses or like an open meetings on Wednesdays. I don't know how that's working right now, but you can always walk in, talk to the person that is supposed to help you, and then you can always practice your internships with them, and they help a lot. They really do. So I would definitely take advantage of that tool.
Yeah, they still hold the open house on Wednesdays. I still hold every a meeting with my career advisor every once a week or every once in 2 weeks. I tell her that she's kind of like a shrink for me during those times, because I mean sometimes she's like, I don't even know how to help you anymore. I cannot make your LinkedIn more appealing or your resume more appealing. It's just the process right now. It's been harder, especially for me because I graduated like literally in June. So I don't know if you guys had you guys graduated last year, even if it was December. But I mean, yeah, no, definitely check before. I followed my friend's advice, Fernando, that was just here. He had to leave, and he was going through career development since I think month 3 of the program, and I started doing so. I built up like a relationship with Felicity, who helps me out right now. So yeah, don't wait until the last months of your program to join it. I don't use Career Sync as much as probably they did. I use a lot of LinkedIn, and after applying to a certain jobs, like LinkedIn has been really good into sending me recommendations of a job that fits my profile, especially because I've been applying to jobs everywhere. So it's not just located in Florida; it's been located everywhere, even outside of the country.
That's good. So you're keeping your options open, it sounds like. And it's
And post
good.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, yeah.
What kind of things would you post? What do you think you should post on LinkedIn?
I mean, anything. Like I literally saw a video this morning, but it's been resonating with me since a while ago. That like LinkedIn right now, it's kind of like what Facebook was a couple of years ago, like 2012. The engagement has been really good. So if you post just something related to your industry that would really add some value, and you tag some people, try to engage into some conversations with them, tag them just to create like a conversation. And then what the algorithm at LinkedIn would do is that as much like as you get, and as much people who see it, they will comment. Just put some polls there. Just try to make. That's what I do, mostly to promote my podcast, but just to create some engagement and keep adding people.
Yeah. Well, so what are some advices for podcasts? I think everyone here has experience working with a podcast of some capacity, whether it's with music or social media or actually planning one. Do you have a tip or two that you'd like to share with getting started?
With getting started, I mean,
Let's do it.
I mean, honestly, like it's not that hard to create one, especially if you have musical background, because the hardest part of the podcast is editing. But if you want to jump on the mic, yeah, some people feel more comfortable. I'm not gonna say I'm the best at it, but after doing a couple of episodes, I definitely can say that I feel more comfortable doing it. But literally, what you need is just like a microphone and like a software. You record yourself, you edit a little bit, and you just go on a hosting platform and you host the audio, and then you just they will help you out to put your podcast on the main platforms, Apple or Spotify. I mean, the only thing that makes a difference is the quality of your audio first, and the content that you share. Because I mean, there are millions of podcasts right now. You just need to really niche it, like choose a topic and try to do your best to talk about it. It's that's the most important thing. And because if you're just gonna go and talk about it, people might listen, people may not, because it's a very intimate medium, and people want to feel related to the host as they listen to it. So it has to be that touch of genuineness into it.
Great feedback. Orgy, Amelia, what do you think?
Well, I technically haven't worked on a podcast, but all I know is that if you find something really interesting and you know you're good at that, choose that as your topic and find something that you really like, that you are passionate about, because it will come across and people will just gravitate to something that if you can hear the passion in someone's voice, people will gravitate towards that. That would be like my best advice.
I would say if you do want to start it and you've been thinking about it for a while, just start. Like there's no, just go for it. And as you go, you will be learning about your niche and your target and what it will define itself, but you gotta start. So yeah.
Very true. So advice from Nicholas was networking as soon as possible. Just start. Amelia is saying find something you're passionate about. Guy, I hear you do a lot of research for your podcast. So I know that you want to be the best of the best. You want to have more information than the basic internet scroller.
The reason I do a lot of research is because my podcast is pretty much like a news show. So and it's current events. It's not just like news, it's current news. So I have to do research in order to select the topics that we will cover on the podcast. And also I have a journalistic background, so I've been induced to that, because my first major is broadcast journalism, but I had to take some classes into print journalism way back in 2012, 2013. So every time they said you need to check your sources, and double check, fact check. So that's why I do a lot of research. I consider myself that I do more than I should have, but I don't necessarily see as like a barrier for me. I just do it. It's just the way I've been instructed to do it. And plus, I like to read. I like to read articles. Sometimes it's just to get this extra information. And after a couple of episodes that I saw what kind of information I was bringing that people were actually enjoying, I was like, okay, might as well just try to find this information again, which is more like economical data and how much it costs to put up the Oscar ceremony, which is something that you don't necessarily see on a regular basis.
It's something to think about, and I'm sure it helps you appreciate the value of what we're looking at when you know the history or the background of what it takes. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Another question from Eden. Thank you so much. What does a normal day look like when you are preparing for a podcast show?
Like the day of the recording?
It's a good question. I added the word day. Let's see.
Oh, okay. If it's okay, recording or planning. So planning for me, it's entire week. I just go with the flow, like countless hours on Twitter just to see the things and fact checking and just other sources. I read a lot of newsletters. I mean, between me and Lilia, we just exchange articles because she follows the gaming industry more in depth than I do. And in terms of, well, the planning, it goes outlining and just researching. And then I also coordinate the social media for our podcast, which just takes a lot of time. I'm pretty sure Lordy can relate to that. It's oh God, it's very time consuming, especially to plan and post what time and what to read on the things. But on the recording day, it's pretty straightforward. We just come to the house, we set up the table. We are lucky enough to have friends that have been graduated from the recording, not recording art, the music production program here. So they help us out with the audio. So they just set up the equipment, and then they hit the recording button, and me and Lita, we just go, and that's it. And then it's just a matter of like coordinating with them when they need to return the audio, so I can post it, so I can upload the episodes. It's just a matter of like just talking to them.
Okay. Lorgy, what will you I saw you smiling and nodding with Guy's research and planning. What was that about?
You gotta be organized. If you're not, you gotta find a way to organize everything, because there are a lot of things, especially when you were talking about social media. Definitely you gotta check your sources whenever you're getting information, because there's a lot of fake things going on out there. And then if you post it, you become part of that source that is also posting fake news, and this is a whole thing. But yeah, definitely when you're planning for your social media and the posting and then scheduling and engaging, it is time consuming. That's why I was smiling. It is. You were totally right. It takes a lot of time.
Do you all feel prepared enough working in the industries that you are? Like, how do you feel that your education supported what you're working on right now?
I
would say Yahoo. Sorry.
Go. You go.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. I was able to work on Hall of Fame for the social media, and that taught me so much. Yeah. So much, because you got to go over like buffer and Hootsuite and analytics, and we prepare for it like, I don't know, maybe 3 months before it actually happened. So you know that there is a research, there's work, you got to start looking for your target, what you're going to use. It's a lot. And in my industry so far, with the one that I do social media for, she has clients that they are not as big. They are mostly startups. So it does take research, but it isn't as heavy work because it's usually local shops. They want to track their local target. So you see it's more, I don't know how to explain. I think it's more shorter, the reach. It's not such a like a big company when you are like, oh my God, you got to start analyzing everything or going through it. With the one that I'm here, I don't do social media, not much. I just evaluate some things. So it's not as heavy, but yeah, social media does take work though.
It's an ongoing secret on social media, and it keeps evolving. If you want to work on social media, one thing that I definitely recommend to you guys is just do as many courses on SEO as you can, because this is like one thing that especially right now. I have friends that work back home in Brazil, and some friends in some countries in Latin America. They're like, if you know SEO, the chance of you getting hired in a social media position are really high right now, because it's really hot right now. Like SEO, it's hot. And but like I'm not gonna post too much on the podcast, because I mean that's a like pretty new industry. All I'm gonna say is that if you are doing a master's degree here at Full Sail, like really choose your project since the beginning, because because then the classes that you take are really gonna help you out plan this project if you really want to move forward with it, or at least they're gonna guide you enough that if you want to just take a project as a part of your portfolio, that's gonna help you out a lot whenever you apply for jobs. Because the problem, I would say, I always talk about, you need to change, for me, some classes around. But overall, if you have an idea that you want to develop, just do it since the beginning.
So I know Milton has some questions, and I know Milton's background, recording art, music production, and then for you all, with your entertainment business masters, Lorgie's media communication, Amelia music business. How do you feel that a recording art student or a music production student can be more equipped with search engine optimization, or what advice can you share with like students like Milton? He's also a performer.
I would say just start working with, like, learn the different type of website hosting services. One of the good things that worked out for me with my band job is that they use Squarespace, and I host my own portfolio on Squarespace. So I know very well the ins and outs of Squarespace. And just a few weeks ago, we had to redo the whole website in just one day. It was a lot of work, but in the end, like, I just knew how it worked. And so it made it pretty easy for me to just put everything on the website. Do courses, find courses. There are courses everywhere. Now that you're still in the university, use lynda.com. Anything that you can learn from Lynda is going to be super useful. It also gets you a certificate on LinkedIn. So that's also good for showing, especially if you're applying with LinkedIn. People can just see that you have a certification on that. So those would be my biggest tips.
That's a good tip. I know that we originally were with Lynda, we're moved over to LinkedIn Learning. Like you had said, Amelia, students do still have access to those resources and getting those certificates put in on your LinkedIn. So Milton, that might help you with getting your hosting and learning more too, is utilizing the resources as an active student for sure. Eden, so it's LYNDA is what it was called, but I believe Lynda and LinkedIn merged, so it's LinkedIn Learning, which we can, if you log into Full Sail One and you search there, you should be able to do it. I'm not sure exactly if alumni, that's a great question. Being that you're a recent grad, you may still have some alumni permission still available to you inside Full Sail One, but definitely take a look. Okay, I have to look at those resources.
I think there are some free courses, Milton, on Google as well that you can do that.
Awesome.
I was going to say that Yeah, like actually a lot of jobs right now, like get it. They are actually asking for the Google
Okay.
certification, the two ones that are for free. So definitely get those so you can get those down. They are for free. You don't have to pay for them. So if you're interested.
I think HubSpot also does a free course. I'm not sure. That's all marketing for those wondering.
Awesome. Great tips. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions from the group? I know we got Anna, Milton here, Eden. I'd love for you to connect with Guy on LinkedIn, and you two can talk definitely more. The sites for the Google certification, I'm sure TJ's looking them up now. We can go ahead and get those posted. Do you guys have any specific questions at all as students or recent grads or about to be grads, maybe personal to you that you want to share to the group? Oh, that's a good question, TJ. What are you guys think? What are you all thinking next? You know, what are you feeling is your next step for you?
Next step, you mean tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
to
if
take day,
that's
it's
how you
all
have,
day by day.
if that's how you have to plan, I feel like that sounds like a good idea. I know Lorgie's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. Thank you, Anna, for posting.
If you're thinking about long time planning, just check Lilia's video. No long time planning.
I don't know. I'm a planner myself, so you just got to let it go. You got to be all frozen too about it.
Oh my God, here we go.
I think we need Lilia to sing a song about that. What were you going to say, Amelia?
That I am personally starting to plan just because my OPT ends in February. So,
Yeah.
and I'm currently looking at two possible options. I'm consulting with a lawyer that specializes in immigration to see if I can get an O1 visa, or my other option, which is pretty much my plan A. I'm currently applying to my master's in NYU for music business as well.
Okay. All right. That's exciting. Congratulations. What attorney are you using? Was it one that Fulso recommended? Is it one out of New York?
It's one out of New York. A cousin of mine that graduated from recording arts also lives here, and he was in this process almost a year ago. And
Okay.
so I asked him personally, just because he's also Colombian and he was in a similar position, if he had any recommendations for lawyers. And he gave me a lawyer. Her name is Raquel. If anyone is based out of New York, I think she's a really good lawyer. They specialize in O visas. So she also will consult with you. You send her a resume and she will see what the best options are for you.
That's awesome. Send me that information. I would love to reach out. We have some great question from Anna Choa. What do you all recommend to do before graduating? Is there something that you recommend for planning? Like, what do you want to do? What do you recommend? I can say that for recommend 5 more times if you need me to.
before definitely get your resume worked out, like way before graduating. Like, start building up right now. If you are more visual, then include visuals. Since I'm applying for like business job, I cannot put too much visuals in there. I just put I have mine is all blank, and I have like a Bordeaux line there, but just to add some life into it. Otherwise, it's just simply plain boring. And check your options. Decide where you wanna, if you wanna stay in Orlando, if you are in the music side, if you wanna move to LA, if you wanna move to New York. I mean, choose something, because if you stay here too long, I mean, I know right now it's different, but I don't know, you get too comfortable. So that's my thing. I've been applying everywhere, like literally everywhere, from Miami to Stanford, Connecticut to Utah. I don't know, like to Seattle, anywhere.
I would second like making your resume, because when I got to Felicity, she was actually really happy that I already had like a planned out resume, just because they can only work on like the small tidbits and not have to like create a resume for you. It's easier to just work based off of something and just perfect it the more they can than to work from like 0 to 100. And also like never think an internship is below you. If you're not finding a job, just go into it. It's the best thing you can do. Like I found great internships. I've made great connections because of the internships. So never think any work is below you just because you think you have more experience that what they're asking for. And yeah, just if you want to move, just make the move. I wasn't I applied for my OPT card, like also that one, just do it as soon as you can, because OPT cards can take a long time. For me, thankfully it didn't take that long. I applied almost when I was pretty near graduation, maybe October. And my OPT arrived just a few days before I was set to move to New York, which I wasn't even sure I was going to get my OPT card before. That was the only thing I was waiting for. So make that as soon as possible. And if you're going to move, just start looking for things, apply to jobs even before you graduate in the place that you want to move to, just so you might have something more secure. But if you haven't got anything secure, just do the move. Like the worst thing that can happen is you get here and you're going to find options.
Great tips. Thank you, Amelia. I know there's some great questions Andrea has for you, Guy. You said that you've been applying for jobs mostly on LinkedIn. Do you have an idea of how many you've applied for? Have you heard from them?
So how many have applied? I think I'm over 70 positions that I've applied to in short of 2 months. Here's the thing, because I have some friends that are recruiters back home, and one of them was I'm gonna just say the company just because to see the relevance that he used to be a recruiter for Facebook back home, and he was let go of his job because of COVID, but he was like in South America, the way it works is he never reads a CV, he never reads a resume, he never reads a cover letter. The way he applies to a job and the way he receives is people just literally going for him on LinkedIn. He sees a person, adds him, and he connects, and he sees what the person has to offer. And if he likes it, he reads it. And he told me to check with this. I checked with Felicity to see what she said. And she was like, well, here's a 50-50. Do it. Don't be too invasive, but do it. If they add you back, just reach out to them. Also, what I did is like some of the companies, I saw there were some alumni, so I sent them a connect and asked them to see if I could speak to them to see how is the hiring process on the company. One of them actually answered, two of them answered back, and I went on a call with one of them. One was for IGN and one was for what was the other one? It was for Vox Media, and at the end, the one from Vox Media was like, "Yeah, just send me a resume. I'll try to push around." But in the end of the day, it didn't work. But it's just seeing your options. And I also use my link. They always offer you the LinkedIn Premium option. Use it because then you can get the in messages you can send to recruiters. So you have 16 messages. Just literally be polite, but be bold at the same time. So I think I'm qualified. And LinkedIn also does a really good job because once you send an in message, they write it out for you. You just need to change some of the things. And it's like, yeah, I'm qualified because of this, this, and that. And regarding cover letters, Felicity Leach told me, I mean, do it. You never know if they're gonna read it or not. But I've been applying. My method is, I've been applying on a bulk level. So I'm applying for a lot of jobs. So I'm not necessarily writing a lot of cover letters. For the jobs that I really want, I do write a cover letter. But personalize it.
Yeah, thank you, Guy. Milton has a great question. What are some of the skill sets that you all had to acquire as graduates that you hadn't foreseen while you were students at Full Sail?
Well, let them talk. I talk too much.
I think I would say customer service. It was a big win because I never had to deal with people. It was usually just mails. You do something, you deliver. But now it's like you gotta call and then deal with them, and then they might be mad. So those definitely, I my point with this is that never take for granted any job, because any skill that you can get from it, you might use it in the future, like customer service, because I didn't have that before and I had to learn it the hard way. And I have had people scream at me and hung up on me. So it's a tough one. Yeah, it was tough, but then I don't know, I guess every experience that you can have, it will be useful in the future. And for the other one that you had, the other question, it was what you can do before you graduate. Definitely with the networking, if you don't have any project right now, join others and work on their projects as well. So if you can collaborate and if you can help, that will be your resume as well, and it will help you, maybe inspire you to start your own thing. And I also have to leave in like a minute. So
It's okay. Thank you. We'll say goodbye to you, Lorgie, then, so you don't have to worry about feeling pressure. We really appreciate you joining us during your work day.
I appreciate your invite a lot, and I hope we all can connect on LinkedIn. So I will check this later and I'll be checking as well. Thank you so much for the invite, and it was nice seeing you all over here. Bye.
Talk to you later, Lorgie. See, we're all working from home. We're schooling from home. We're friending from home. We're more than just sleep and TV now, right? Milton was saying he's using mail merge a lot when he's making his cover letters. That's awesome. Let's see. I know Anna Ochoa said we answered the question about what's recommended before graduating, building that resume, connecting with is Felicity a career advisor? I don't know who Felicity is.
Yes.
Yes. However, she took in another role, so I don't think she's taking new students. She's keeping the ones that she had. That's what she told me. But I wouldn't say this and get it for granted. Just check with them. They assigned her for me because I was doing it before I was assigned to a career dev. So that's why I got her.
Okay. I'll have to reach out and let her know that you all give her a shout out. Find out what she's working on. God, she's able to give you some tips. Was making a career sync easy, hard? What was it like?
It wasn't too hard. I think all you need to have is your email, and then once you're an alumni, it's the same email but just alumni. But it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. The only thing that people might struggle with, but I think everyone goes to a meeting where someone in career advising will just go through the website, is setting up alerts, but that's pretty much the only thing that might be slightly harder.
Milton would like to know, have you all used any unemployment days for OPT while looking for jobs? I know that's a little bit different for you, Guy. You're using your experience and working on you can share. I know we were talking a little bit about
I mean, if technically if you want to consider like a regular job, I'm still using my unemployment days. If that answers, because mine started running August 24. So I'm about to complete 2 months using those, but I'm a different case because I'm doing a freelance thing for now.
Right. So for OPT, Milton, if you are working in your industry, whether it's paid or unpaid or volunteer within the first 12 months, you just have to be recording your time in order to get credit for that. And if you have specific questions, Milton, for ideas for you so that you aren't accruing unemployment days, please reach out to your international student advisor so you can get more in-depth, personalized information for sure on what that entails.
I personally run into that issue either, just because my cousin also has a company. He works in entertainment as well. He does everything that has to do with live events, whether it's for conferences, everything that has to do with sound. So he added me as one of his employees, and we're currently working on things outside, even though I wasn't technically an employee, but I've been helping him out with things that he's also working on. So in that way, I didn't rack up any unemployment days just because I was technically working with him.
Okay.
He has a company here in the US, so
you got to be creative.
Yep.
Save that for sure. So, what have you all been doing for fun? What have you been doing non-work related or to keep your sanity during this time? What have you been doing?
I'm going back, working out, just watching some movies and just chatting with my friends, and pretty much that's it. Just try now. The funny thing with this whole situation is that I now have been on calls with some friends, but the funny thing is that now we have to schedule the call. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna call out of the blue. If I want to get in a call with like 2, 3, 4, 5, like a group of friends that's big, we literally schedule a day and time to get on a Zoom call or like a team session or whatever platform you use. That's been the interesting part.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because we can get carried away, right, with our day-to-day activities this way, that we don't stay connected to the non-work requirements. What about you, Amelia? What have you been doing for fun?
I've been talking to my Colombian friends a lot more, and I actually recently reconnected with a friend from Colombia who lives here in New York City, and she actually lives really close by to where I am. So we've been going out a lot more with her, and I recently took on roller skating, so I'm doing that as well.
Wow, that's exciting. Are you doing any videos of you roller skating or just?
No, I've been more trying to roller skate outside. I've been going to a roller rink. There are just a few, and they're just open until the end of fall. So they're closing out pretty soon. But I've been going to a couple of roller discos that are in Prospect Park. Having a fun time.
I was gonna say, like, too bad you don't have like a cranberry juice and a cool 70s song to roller skate to.
I know.
Have you guys seen that? I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know how it got so popular, but TikTok is becoming like such a good platform for social media marketing.
Yeah.
And it's so important to like understand how it works, even though no one really knows how it works.
Like, there's no way that he woke up that day thinking, I'm going to get a car tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Or Fleetwood Mac, that their sales were going to go up, you know?
I took up roller skating mainly because of TikTok. Like, I started scrolling and I saw people roller skating, and I was like, I haven't done this in a while.
And it's enjoyable, right?
A lot.
To quote my friend Lilia here, the algorithm knows you too well on TikTok.
Yes, that's very true. I haven't found a platform that knows me so well, even though I spent more time probably with like Facebook or Instagram than with TikTok.
Well, my algorithms know my son. They don't know me. So I'm always getting these recommended stuff that I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, whatever. My son's always Googling garbage music and, stuff like that. I think you would agree if you knew some of the songs. I need some more Anna in my life with some of her upbeat, encouraging songs. All right. Carrie went ahead and shared a link for the active students who would love to be awarded GPS points for being here today. We really appreciate you, Guy, Amelia, Nicholas, Lorgie, for taking some time of your day to share what it's been like working on OPT. And since you've graduated, if you have any final words to share with the group, I appreciate everyone sticking around. Looks like we have a great group. Stephanie and Milton and Lilo. We got lots of people, lots of familiar names here.
You said final words? I guess
have any?
Try to, I know it's hard, but try not to lose your energy while doing this. It's very exhausting. It's very boring to apply for jobs, and try to stay busy as much as you can without going too crazy, especially with personal projects. Because and don't always apply for jobs. Take time to work on some personal craft, whether are courses or some personal projects. Especially if you are like Milton, I know you're recording arts. Try to work on some stuff, and open yourself to new possibilities. I'm saying that because I've seen a lot of I say that to a lot of people that work in music production or recording arts. Like, podcasts right now are hot, and they need they need recording. They are hiring a lot of like audio people, and they are paying well. That's me.
Thank you for sharing.
For me, final words would be reach out to everyone on LinkedIn. Just don't feel that you can't. It would be even better if you can type in like a personal message. That always leaves a very good impression. Mm-hmm. And never take no's or just no answers on when you're applying to jobs as something personal. That can really tear you down. But Felicity was always really nice, and she always told me, like, if you ever feel like your battery is running low, applying to jobs, just reach out to your career advisor. They will give you a pep talk. Reach out to friends. No one has it easy here, and it's okay to like not get a job on the first try. No one got a job on the first try.
No, we've all had to learn so many different things. We have an international student advisor who would always talk about people's attitude during the OPT employment process, and those who were taking it day by day and were positive and didn't let the worry and concern take over were the ones to first get a job and in the industries that they wanted. Whereas the ones that were harder on themselves and were more focused on the negative possibilities, they ended up returning home before their 12-month OPT. So I really encourage you to follow Amelia's feedback and talk to your career advisor, talk to your international student advisor. We're all here to help you and connect with you, and sessions like this help us know that we're not alone in the COVID times, in working on OPT, being a graduate, being international in the United States, or just being a domestic student in the States and looking for work. So I appreciate you all joining us today. I appreciate our panelists sharing so personal aspects and you all and your wonderful questions. We're gonna go ahead and leave the session open just for a little bit longer, so you can go ahead and copy paste Carrie's link. And thank you so much, and I'll give you a round of applause. And we will see you all later.
Thank you.
Bye.